Okay, now we get into Dark Matter's attempt to bring morality into the picture from an atheistic view, or however, I'm saying he's pointing to being a Luciferian, or he's showing signs of that in his other video. But definitely Luciferians are atheistic in a sense. They don't believe there's an ultimate supreme God. He's going to try to explain morality without that. And it's, again, it's just futile. Stop. Would you atheists please stop? Stop trying to explain how we can have morals without God. Objective morals. You can't have it. And then to try to bring morality in as if it's some kind of binding thing on anybody is meaningless. It is just futile to you to try to do this. Stop. Okay, stop it. Let's look at what he's, and this is the guy tells him a plan of how this person can become a robot in Yahweh's system so that he can overthrow Yahweh and defeat the evil Yahweh God. Okay, so and here we go on with the story.
The first robot with AI and free will.
So I blend in
free will?
And help you stop it?
Yes.
But why does that even matter? If there's no God, then there's no such thing as good and evil. We're just specks of meaningless matter floating through the universe.
Absolutely true from an atheistic view. Absolutely true. Okay, now here we go with him trying to nuance that. Okay,
are meaningful to each other. That's what matters. It's easy to see how a human being is far less significant than an entire galaxy. But your daughter was far more relevant to you than a hazy dot of light in the night sky.
Okay, that's nice, but
so it's all just
what does
relative?
That have to do with morality?
Good and evil is a matter of perspective.
Yes.
I didn't say that.
You should have, because that's
not derived from the dictate of an authority. The meaning comes from the reasons for that dictate.
Ooh, okay.
If the origins of moral dictate come not from reasoning, but from God full stop, then that is when good and evil have no meaning.
I call horse manure to this. This is horse manure, more horse manure coming from an atheist about morality. You have to have an authority somewhere where it comes to full stop. You have to. And your reasons. Okay, let's move on here with his reasons of why. Let's get into that. Okay, let's deal with that.
I don't think I understand.
If you tell your daughter to do something, it isn't right just because her father told her to do it. What makes it right is her father's reasons for telling her to do it.
Well, can't people just come up with whatever reasons they want and declare them right?
Yeah. Sure, but as a mere human being, other people can question their reasons. But if they're acting as a proxy for God, as many do, then their reasons will carry far more authority than they'd otherwise have.
This is weird, okay? Now he's going to go off on this little rabbit trail here, and we'll deal with that too. But he's saying that the reasons for the dictate or the moral imperative is what matters, not the moral imperative itself. My question, Dark Matter, is why is the reason moral? The reason's moral. Okay, daughter, Sally, don't go in the street because don't go in the street, Sally. Don't go out in the street. Why, Daddy? Because you might get run over by a car and I don't want you to die. Question, why is her dying and getting run over by a car wrong? Why is it objectively, morally wrong? Answer that, please. This is what you can't. There's nothing objectively morally wrong with her getting run over by a car. Yeah, I might not like it. It may not make me feel good. Maybe it might. Maybe I might be a person that likes watching little girls get run over by cars. There's no objective base. There's no place to a full stop. You just want to say, well, that's just crazy. Well, who decided that? Dark Matters. Who decided that how I feel about her getting run over by a car is full stop? The authority, my feelings about it, her getting run over by the car. Why is that authoritative? Somewhere you're going to have a full stop, somewhere. Okay? And so what we have in the Christian view is God, who created the universe, who is a God of love, wants his creatures to prosper. He wants his creatures to live. He wants his creatures to do good. And what motivates him is his love to protect us, to guide us. And we have this same image in our heart and the moral law written on our hearts. That's why humans generally accept that moral imperative. That's the Christian view. Because it's rooted in the very nature of the love of God. You have none of that in atheism. You have baseless, subjective opinion. That's it. Okay, now let's move on here with, I see I have a few more minutes, so let's move on here with the rest of his insanity.
That's why the idea that morality comes from God is such a dangerous idea. It can put us at the mercy of the worst of us.
That is true. You do have people who are pulling on God to try to for crazy stuff. That's true. But in atheism, how are they morally, objectively wrong, dark matter? Why is this person going, oh, well, God said to do this? Why is it dangerous at all? What's dangerous? So what if the human race gets wiped out? If some madman takes over in Iran and nukes the planet, and they get nukes, and they nuke the planet, and we cease to exist as a species? Who cares? It doesn't matter. There's no morally good to that. There's no moral bad to it. From an objective basis, we're just dead, gone, and that's it. Who cares? It is all relative. Dark matter?
Under God, anything can be justified through mere assertion.
How can that be?
Well, let's use blasphemy as an example. There is no justifiable reason for blasphemy to be a...
Yes, there is a justifiable reason for blasphemy to be bad. If we're created in the image of God and to be connected to God, when you blaspheme God, you are severing that connection, and now you are like a leaf severed from the tree and about to die. That's why. You're going to start to go into chaos and craziness and destruction, and that is hell. That's what we call hell. That's when people sever themselves from God, and that blasphemy is that. Blasphemy is giving God the middle finger. Okay? And that severs your relationship with God, and it brings destruction into your life. That's why it's so important. That's why blasphemy laws are so important and are justified, and that's why God commands us not to blaspheme him, because he doesn't want us to be severed from our source of life.
Law. If a certain concept gives someone power, however, then they might try to protect that concept from criticism and ridicule. Good ideas stand up to criticism all on their own, but if you have a bad idea, one way to protect it is to force people to respect it through rule of law.
What's a bad idea or a good idea from an atheist view? Especially when we're dealing with morality here. What's bad or good? How does it stand up on its own? The Spartans had their morality, the Athenians had theirs. Killing babies, the Spartans killed weak babies. What? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Well, it's good because I feel it is. It's just, who cares? Again, if the human race gets wiped out in a nuclear holocaust, how's that morally good or bad, objectively? How? This is what I'm saying. This is just jargon here. This is just blather. It's just static. Okay, let's move on.
Indoctrination. That's why blasphemy laws were invented, which protected not God. For indeed, why would an omnipotent being need protection?
He doesn't. God doesn't need us. He doesn't need protection. He wants us to be connected to our source of life. That's why the blasphemy laws are important. That's why you're not to take the Lord's name in vain, because you're attacking your very source of life.
But instead protected those who acted as God's proxy and allowed for the murder of those who disbelieved them. Redefine.
You want to talk about murder, dark matter? Murder of innocent babies? They're just souls. They're just little cells in a petri dish, right? Just kill them off. And actually, we're all just cells. That's it. There's no objective agent in here thinking, having objective, rational thoughts. Everything is determined by physical processes, meaningless, determined, pointless, baseless nothingness. You stand on nothing. Can't you see that? Can't you see that? God doesn't need us. We need Him. And that's why He commands us to do the things He tells us to do.
In that murder as justice, in actuality a gross perversion of justice, because skeptics were the ones who had the ability to weaken such tyrannical authority over the people.
Yeah, skeptics are just these really, the YouTube skeptic community is just a beacon of light on the earth. I mean, they're just so loving and caring, and they don't mock people, and they don't demean people, and they don't mock their beliefs or anything like that. Right, Dark Matter? Right? Give me a break. Come on. Is it?
And many other such groups also suffered under the persecution designed by people acting on God's behalf.
You want to know the worst societies ever on the planet? Atheistic. State atheism. Eclipses anything a religious society has done. It's not even close.
If you can convince someone that those who resist you are evil, then fighting them becomes a moral obligation. And that is how good intentions can become atrocities.
But don't people need something more to believe in? People need heaven and hell
to behave.
No.
But your own world proves you wrong.
Okay.
When and where you live on 21st century Earth, the most peaceful societies are also the least religious, while the most violent societies are the most religious.
We're going to stop there. This is, again, horse manure. All the evidence points the other way. One of the greatest countries ever to be in existence, United States. God-fearing USA, Christian 70% plus USA, and that's coming down now, and that's why our society is starting to implode on itself. Europe, okay, Christian, the majority are Christians, but now what's happening? They're abandoning Christianity, and now what's happening in Europe? Is it a wonderful little utopia? Now let's move over to some secular atheist countries, shall we? Red China. Ooh, that's a real beacon of light. That's a real wonderland of peace, isn't it? North Korea, state atheism. The Soviet Union, state atheism. Oh, but those are communist countries. Those are communist countries. Okay. Well, here in the United States and Europe, the main driving force for abortion is the secularists. They don't see babies in the womb, innocent babies in the womb, as humans. They don't have any rights yet, so just kill them, take them out. More murders done for abortion, than most of those communist nations. So don't give me this secularism brings in peace and tolerance. And guess what else secularism does? It destroys families. It destroys societies. Through abortion, you're killing off your next generation. Then, by destroying the families with divorce being rampant, you bring up these children who are very dysfunctional, have huge issues, and don't have coping mechanisms to deal with the real world, which is what we're seeing today. I mean, this is just... just look at the evidence, please. Look at the evidence. So this whole thing of that secular societies are the most peaceful and religious societies are not. He's saying this in what? I don't know where he lives, but if he's saying this in the United States, still vast majority Christian. If he's saying it in Europe, still vast majority Christian. Don't give me that, okay? And as Christianity begins to diminish, you're going to see the society begin to implode. It's just going to happen. And as society doesn't have children and aborts its own and murders its own innocent babies, the next generation, and as they continue to destroy the family and divorce is rampant and all these things begin to happen, you're going to have less and less kids from that society. So what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to import from other societies, and that's what's happening. And so other societies are going to come into ours, with other value systems, other ways of looking at the world that are going to be tyrannical and horrible. Okay, so again, your whole thing here was just, again, baseless, meaningless, subjective opinion without any foundation, and it's ridiculous. It's silly, and I hope you really think about this, Dark Matter, and Christians that maybe watch him. I mean, his whole channel. Oh yeah. So should I be like you, Dark Matter, and all your videos that just mock Christians as being a secular person, pure goodness, the way you are purely good, and how you just mock Christianity, you straw man our beliefs, you straw man the Bible over and over again, you do all these horrible things on your channel to make Christians feel demeaned and stupid, and you want me to follow that? You want me to go, oh wow, that's really just, yeah, that's really wonderful. No, sorry. I will follow Jesus Christ. I will follow love, joy, peace, and I will point people like you out for the frauds you are. Okay, Christians, God bless, and pray for people like Dark Matter like this. Pray for the YouTube skeptic community that thinks they're so wonderful, yet at the core, they are the ones who are rotten, like a rotten apple. Okay, God bless.